Documentary about transgender in China, Part 2. It's been the 26th August around midnight. It has been now a while that I worked again on this documentary. A lot of things happened. Things that I don't want to hide before I go back to the main story. I want to speak about how much I honestly sometimes struggle with my own depressions, my own mental health problems. I don't want to hide them because I'm one of you. It is not that easy, but the work I do here, even if it needs a lot of time, means so much to me. I can't say that often enough. That is what kinda keeps me running, looking forward, staying motivated, now more than ever. Because the heavy reaction by all these new people that followed me on my journey made me very happy. To see so many new faces, personalities, it's such a pleasure. Thank you. But yes, it's been a hard time for myself. I want to speak it out because it's as a topic in this documentary. Facing the mental health problems many of them also have, to deal with depression, and yes, thinking about giving up. I had this moment last day, but I don't want to give up. So here we are once again. Back again, writing, sitting middle in the night, writing and thinking about what I could say right now to start. To find the right start into something I started 4 weeks ago. What could I say now? What could I speak about? So much is in my mind. I've wrote so much down. So many feelings, so many ideas. I try to sort them all. It's quite hard to think honestly, but it is something that means so much to me. So I wanted to keep, of course, going. I promised it, to deliver another part, and here we are again. So, where do I start? With a big thank you. Thank you for all the support, all the responses, reactions, and likes. It made me so happy to see how many reacted on YouTube to the first part. I wasn't expecting that. That so many would click it, so many like. What I have done gave me such a rush of feelings. Thank you for that. I did that not for myself. I did that for you, the people from China. It was stunning that so many I could reach with it. It means so much for me. If I look back at all these days, all the reactions from the video, how many people followed me then after I posted, was just wow. I had to think a lot about all. I want to be honest. I want to be open. I want to be myself. I want to tell my feelings that now rushing through my mind, trying to find their way into words. The coming days after and while I was working on the first part from this documentary was a rush of feelings and emotions. I tried to stay professional. Yes, that sounds awkward. How you can stay professional when you was from the start so bonded to so many emotional feelings that made your own mind be sucked into something that was take me into something I couldn't expect. But I should slow down. I feel I'm starting to digress a little bit away. Let me explain. Let me take you back through all the things I discovered the last days, step by step again. All my experience I made again those last days were overwhelming. I tried to find the right words to describe you, a word of friendship, family, and a big community that holds strong together. That bond, the strong solidarity just took me more deeper. And now we can come back again to my own feelings and experience that make no more sense. Then it was a hit, a point in my mind. What I discovered more were a word that has all I often also searched for. Those people hold together strong as one community. That is not like our world here in the western part. They don't have all the freedom at all like we do as transgender. And this bonds them just more together, makes them a living community, sharing together so many things. I discovered that this community is much bigger. Yes, I know it sounds silly. Of course there are thousands of those transgender, a big LGBTQ movement that stay mostly very strong together. It was fascinate me more and more. I was trying to get in contact with a lot of them. And I can say it wasn't easy and still is. Not anyone speaks English. So it's quite hard to get in contact with such closed world. Yes, closed. It is a word for itself. Those people I discovered stay mostly under themselves. What's totally fine. I even find it so surprising in a very good way. They're having built up their own community far away from other things like in our world, the Western world. They grew together to a own transgender community that has so much solidarity, especially solidarity, because the society don't give them this feeling of being accepted. Many suffer from being discriminated, but later more about that. This society hold them away to be what they are, but that makes them stronger. This big sense of community has such a different meaning there. They share a lot together on Twitter, connecting very fast, I can tell. What I can also tell from my own experience, how many then start to share my posts on Twitter and reacted to them in a way that I didn't know. Maybe I'm not used to it. But for them, internet, the word on Twitter, means a lot to them. Of course it does. They grew up with it in times where it became so important. But for them, it's a door to the outside world, to socialize, to find other transgender, connecting. And this is what fascinates me and make their worlds different to ours. They don't have this big freedom like we enjoy. Sure, it's also hard here, but in their world, discrimination has no hold back. So that bonds them together. And Twitter is a big, big place for them. to connect in a very fast way. News stuff gets fast shared and liked. I was flashed by all the reactions and new followers. I really got sucked more into their world. And that gave me such a rush of feelings. I wanted to be more a part of them. And I became a part of them. I became friend with them. This deep connection I discovered was all I so often searched for. A family, a community, something that holds strong together. It's of course not all perfect. We are humans. We are not perfect. It has its shadows, of course. But all in all, what I saw and discovered makes me still jumpy in a good way. It's very exciting. Day 2. It's now the 27th August. Back to the work on this part 2 of the documentary. Let me mention something before we coming back to the main topic of this documentary. Let me explain. As I got up very late in the day after a long night working on this project, the next part of this documentary, I noticed that this all year becomes like a travel diary. It has something like a travel diary. And the journey I'm going through, how every day I can add something else, live kinda through this documentary, like I would really been there in this world in China, but still on Twitter, speaking with them and learning from them. All this new experience I make live right now on this day. It's just very insane. It's such a new feeling, a new discovery also for myself. I learned so much from these people, the transgender from China, how they teach me about their culture, how they're living. It's such a good feeling and very exciting. Many of them spoke to me in the direct messages on Twitter, shared what they know with me. I will try to put all the things, if I'm allowed, from them into this documentary, but later more. I want to show so much to you, as much as I can, any side, any part of this world. So, where do we was the last day? Yes, the fascination about how these people building such a big living community that has such a big potential. I mentioned that again, coming back to that, because it's something I see every day now. People sharing their life on Twitter, letting me part of it, discovering, reading people that tell me about how they meet up, having dates, holding hand in hand together. These people have only themselves more than we know that in the Western world. There is no huge protection from the government that protects their rights. So they have to form a strong community. It's of course, I mentioned it already, not all perfect. It has shadow sides, but that's normal. But still, these people have such a strong bond. But let me explain you something, what I discovered also lately. It's a very cute detail and fascinating. There is this one medication, Proginova, I think it's called. It's part of the hormone replacement therapy. And there is a little swirly thing on the package. No one would even care or notice. But not the transgender in China. I tell you this with a smile on my face because it's so adorable and very fascinating. They use it as a emote in their profiles on Twitter to identify among themselves. Isn't that a great and smart idea? It's like a little hidden secret and yet so open to see, but it took me a while to understand. Many use it when they meet up, showing a little patch. I don't know honestly how to describe it in English, but I'm gonna show you. It's like a necklace with a pendant. So, with all these little details, these hidden secrets that makes them so special in my eyes, and how they meet up, showing proud pictures from their phones, showing often the Twitter accounts on their smartphones. All these little details I saw so far now amazed me. These people really have a very fine feeling for little details. Their culture to share, to live their life together through Twitter, and from there, when possible, in real life. Sure, not anyone can do that. Many still be also alone and isolated, but also them try to connect through Twitter. I have such a huge respect for them because they don't enjoy the same freedom as we do here in the Western world. I know I was mentioned this already, but I wanna say this again. Sure, it's not perfect here, I know, but still, I really want to mention that there's no protection for them. Yes, I know, maybe some of you knew that already. But for me, it's a big new world. I wish so much I could travel there and show you the world as a recording, but I try to share as much as I can with you while I'm going through this journey. I want to share this big world that is so deep connected together, and their deep feelings, a strong sense for family, a big one that has so much solidarity. I mention that again because now we're coming slowly to the dark sides in their world. I'm gonna tell you a bit more about what these people have to go through, what kind of discrimination. There are cases of transgender that got backstabbed after their coming out from their own family. For a while ago, I heard and read about a story from a transgender person. Her name is Yaming. Her family was sent her into a camp, something they call, I think, re-education camp. I'm not sure, but what was happened is that she got sent into a place that was held her a long time away, locked under a lot of violence. Luckily, she could escape after a while of very traumatizing weeks and got saved from friends, brought into a safe place. From there, she kept fighting for her freedom as transgender and tried to recover from the violence against her life. Such cases seems to happen sadly very often in China, and it's very shocking. So understand if I can't go too much into the details. You can find her whole story as on Twitter, but I will show you. Many transgender can't fully be free and suffer under a lot of discrimination against their life and often even from their own family. But all in all, the society in China can be very aggressive and ignorant against transgender, and the government gives them very low protection against that. This all leads often to a heavy stress reaction in their life. Many don't stand the pressure. Many suffer from depression and other mental health problems, as also self-harm. That all leads to it that many have to take medication against it, what of course brings other bad feelings of not being able to live a normal life or even getting a job. There are also a lot of stories about transgender that came to me and told me about their abuse from medication as a kind of drug. Many of them showed me what their life looks like, told me their very emotional story about their worries, the depression they're dealing with. Many don't have any other option, and the only thing they often have is using drugs to calm the stress, the worry about their own future, not being able to get a job, force them into a spiral of addiction that leads to many other problems. But don't get me wrong, I don't disapprove them for what they do. I feel with their suffer, their pain. I can feel why they do that. Because back in my own life in the past, I was also do such kind of things. And yet I also have my weak days where I like to drink to find a way to calm down from the heavy life. So, no, those people are not weak or failing in their own life. These people try to withstand their own problems and thus are not easy to handle. So, let us appreciate more how strong many of them are trying to face the problem still. I have a huge respect for that, and I hope I can help some of them, even if myself need a lot help too. But as people, I'm one of them. I do stand for the transgender people in China. 28 August, another day of work on this documentary. But slowly, I think we're coming to the point where I has been showed so much. It could be so much more, I know. I feel there could be told so much more, but like any journey has also this an end. I really hope I could cover as much as I can with this documentary part. The last part. Let us complete this art together and let us look back with some words again from my own experience I made through all this. We mention all the important things I felt and discovered, the good ones as also the sad ones that all together made this documentary, the journey to something very special. The enthusiasm that I saw the whole time, all day, through my posts on Twitter and through the support with my first part of this documentary made me very happy. To see others enjoy my posts, that I can share something with them and they share with me, gave me so much many new feelings I never had before. So many new things I learned through this journey. The views I got into their life and world was fascinated me so much. Friendship was building up, new connection, reaching out to help those people that gave me the feeling to be connected with them, to be part of them as community. I was feel with them. I was feel with every struggle, every sad depressing post they did on Twitter, and I followed them. I tried to help. I felt so much with them. I wanted to stand with them together because we are all transgender and I'm one of them. Again, I want to mention something I maybe said before. They deserve to be heard. They deserve to have a voice outside of China. Their life also matters. I wanted to show with this documentary how much they fight. And we saw that a lot in this documentary. I was got so many responses the last weeks, people from China and their story about their own life and their everyday struggle. And I wish I could have covered any story from each of this person in this world documentary. But through this journey, this documentary, I was learned so much. It was an honor for me to get such a big insight into their words that I could be part of it. I felt like I traveled through their country with them as a friend. They showed me their world, and we saw behind anything. We saw many humans with a personality. It was beautiful to see how creative, how smart many of them are. I hope I could bring with my words some of my own experience over to you that listen to this at the moment. I also hope you was enjoy it and also learned something through this documentary, this travel. It was a lot of work and honestly not always easy for myself to work on such a big project. Sadly, I couldn't bring the big interviews into this documentary. The communication was quite not easy because I mentioned that already, but many of them don't speak English, but also out of respect towards each of them. Because any single person I meet should have get a place in this documentary. I was wish so much I could let them speak for themselves, but I still hope I could do that with this whole documentary. But still, it was such a pleasure to work with them together. Thank you, my friends from China. This work was for the transgender, the humans in China. Just from transgender to transgender, from human to human, and from friend to friend. Thank you.